The United States has finally decided it's time to hold a global conference on political terrorism. Representatives from over 60 countries, including India, were invited to Washington to describe what Secretary of State Marco Rubio called a growing global terrorist threat.
This is the nature of the terrorism we face today. This is an international conference because we are facing a transnational threat.
Good. Better late than never. Because while Washington is discovering terrorism as a geopolitical challenge today, India has been writing the textbook on fighting terrorism for decades. In fact, listening to the conference, one couldn't help but think the student has finally enrolled in a class India has been teaching since the 1980s. At the conference, Secretary Rubio spoke about how the world has developed a blind spot when it came to certain forms of political terrorism. He specifically mentioned Maoist insurgencies like Peru's Shining Path and argued that governments must treat all ideological terrorism seriously.
You remember the inhuman savagery of Peru's Shining Path, the Maoist fanatics who massacred the peasant villages of Peru, hacking pregnant women and newborn infants to death with axes and machetes.
Interesting. Because if there's one country that doesn't need convincing on that point, it's India. India spent decades battling left-wing extremism across what was once known as the Red Corridor. And unlike many countries that debated ideology simply, India built intelligence networks, modernized policing, coordinated state and central forces, and systematically dismantled the leadership of the CPI Maoist. Today, the insurgency has shrunk dramatically, with the government setting a target of eliminating left-wing extremism altogether. So yes, Washington may be discovering the Maoist threat, India has been defeating it. But perhaps the bigger irony lies elsewhere. For decades, India repeatedly warned the world about cross-border terrorism emanating from Pakistan.
तो 92 में मैं वहां गया था, तो क्लिंटन के चुनाव के बाद गया, रॉबिन रेफल के साथ मेरी मीटिंग थी, मैं चला गया, 15 मिनट का समय तय हुआ था, लेकिन हमारी बातचीत कोई 2.5 घंटे चली और विषय निकला हिंदुस्तान के आतंकवाद का। मित्रों, में 2.5 घंटे तक इस महिला को अमेरिका की स्टेट डिपार्टमेंट की सेक्रेटरी, जो बहुत महत्वपूर्ण पद होता है, 2.5 घंटे को उसको आतंकवाद समझाता रहा। वो मुझे कहती है कि नहीं, ये तो आपका लॉ एंड ऑर्डर प्रॉब्लम है। मैं पंजाब समझाता तो बोले तो आपका लॉ एंड ऑर्डर प्रॉब्लम है। मैं कश्मीर समझाता बोले तो आपका लॉ एंड प्रॉब्लम, यू विल हैव टू हैंडल दिस प्रॉब्लम। इसमें पाकिस्तान कहां आता है, अमेरिका कहां आता है, पता नहीं उसके दिमाग में क्या भरा था। मित्रों, इत्तेफाक से 2003 में मेरा जाना हुआ, तो 2003 में मैंने उनको ऐसे ही चिट्ठी लिखी थी कि मैं आ रहा हूं, क्योंकि वो मेरी प्राइवेट विजिट थी, कोई गवर्नमेंट विजिट नहीं थी। तो उन्होंने कहा सामने से संदेश आया कि मुझे खास आपसे मिलना है, तो मैं चला गया। इस बार हालत अलग थे, इस बार वो मुझे आतंकवाद समझा रही थी और कारण यह था कि ट्रेड सेंटर में बम फूटा था। ट्रेड सेंटर में जब तक बम नहीं फूटा था, तब तक अमेरिका को आतंकवाद समझ नहीं आया था। मित्रों, जब ट्रेड सेंटर में बम फूटा, तब उनको आतंकवाद समझ में आया और तब वो मुझसे समझने की कोशिश कर रही थी कि जरा मुझे बताइए आतंकवाद के किस किस रूप को आप जानते हो।
A terror state created by the US. Those warnings often struggled to receive the urgency they deserved because Pakistan occupied a different place in Washington's strategic calculus. During the Cold War, Pakistan became one of America's most important security partners in the fight against the Soviet Union in Afghanistan. Billions of dollars in military and financial assistance flowed into the region. Those policies created a militant ecosystem whose consequences would haunt not just South Asia, but eventually the entire world. The irony today is impossible to ignore. Washington now hosts international conferences on defeating terrorism.
Between 1971 and 1972, the FBI counted some 2,500 bombings on American soil, a rate of nearly 5 a day.
But many of the security challenges it seeks to address are linked to strategic decisions made decades ago.
A transgender shooter opening fire on Catholic elementary school students as they pray, his gun marked with slogans like, "Where is your God now?"
And while India kept warning about cross-border terrorism, much of the international community continued viewing Pakistan through a strategic lens. Even after India repeatedly raised concerns about terror infrastructure operating across the border. Even while New Delhi argued that terrorism could not be divided into good and bad categories depending on geopolitical convenience. History surely has a way of coming full circle. Here's another contradiction. The United States continues military cooperation with Pakistan, including sustaining Pakistan's F-16 fleet and conducting joint military exercises focused on counterterrorism. Now think about that for a second. America is conducting counterterrorism exercise with Pakistan's National Counterterrorism Center. Honestly, I'm not sure what's more ironic. A country accused for allowing terror groups to operate from its soil having a national counterterrorism center, or Washington helping train alongside the nation responsible for 9/11. That's like opening a fire safety academy inside a fireworks factory and calling it progress. Now, of course, states engage each other for strategic reasons. But from India's perspective, the contradiction is difficult to miss. Then comes another contrast. When India launched Operation Sindoor, New Delhi repeatedly maintained that its objective was to target terrorist infrastructure while avoiding civilian and military targets beyond what was necessary.
ऑपरेशन सिंदूर के दौरान डेमो तो देख ही लिया होगा। धमाके आतंकियों के अड्डों पर हो रहे थे और गूंज पूरी दुनिया में सुनाई दे रही थी।
Compare that with America's recent strikes on Iran, where the conversation quickly shifted to damaged infrastructure, regional escalation, risk of civilian fallout, and a global market crisis. Two democracies, two counter-terror doctrines, but very different outcomes. Which brings us back to Washington's conference. The United States deserves credit for recognizing that terrorism, regardless of ideology, requires international cooperation.
Today's far-left terrorists can raise money in one country. They can host their communications in a second country. They can receive training in a third country. They can recruit militants in a fourth country. And then together strike a target in a fifth country.
But perhaps the most valuable participant in that room wasn't there to merely listen. It was there because it has decades of experiences to offer. India has lived through cross-border terrorism. India has defeated large-scale Maoist insurgency. India has repeatedly argued that no terrorist should be judged by ideology, only by violence. And that argument is now finally gaining wider acceptance. So maybe the next global conference on counterterrorism shouldn't just invite India as another participant. Maybe it should ask India to lead a session. Because when it comes to understanding terrorism, not in theory, but in practice, few democracies have paid a higher price. And perhaps no democracy has learned more difficult lessons from it. This is Shivangi Mukherjee for India Abroad.